Dave Cooper Live, we connect the industry leaders in the architectural, engineering, and construction space with the people, the products, and the processes to help them build it better. You know what they say, think outside the box. The future of sustainable construction may not come from a traditional construction job site or factory. It might just roll in on a cargo ship. Today on Dave Cooper Live, we're joined by Rory Rubin, CEO of SI Container Builds, the only licensed and certified container repurposing company in Illinois. Rory and her team are redefining what's possible with repurposed steel, turning shipping containers into stunning, sustainable, and code-compliant buildings. From Chicago's Navy Pier to mental health recovery housing, multifamily communities, and portable power pods, they're proving that innovation and impact can fit inside the box. It's not just about construction, it's about community, integrity, and transformation. Only right here on Dave Cooper Live. But before we get into all of that, we have to give a big shout out to all of our supporting members below. I want you to thank them, and we'd love for you to join our community. And guess what? We are now live on Instagram as well, and we'll be coming to TikTok here soon. We got all the capabilities right here in Dave Cooper Live. Our industry is changing fast, just like the technology in front of my screen. And I'm not joking. It changed right before I went live. Well, with all that said, let's give a big shout out to these supporting members, and then we're going to get right into the show. Brought to you by Graitec, developers of the complete light gauge steel and wood framing software for Revit StrucSoft. Off-site, modular, or prefabricated, StrucSoft Framer turns Revit into a powerful manufacturing tool, automating every step of the DFMA process from design to final delivery. StrucSoft doesn't just work with Revit, it transforms it. Jumpstart your designs at StrucSoftSolutions.com. Halleck Ltd. has a long history of innovation in cold form steel manufacturing and producing innovative precision roll forming technology for customers throughout the United States and the world. Check out their machine buyer's guide for off-site modular construction or fast build construction with light steel for framing. Go to their website, halleckltd.com. All right, so that was a little bit weird. It seems like we were getting an echo. I don't know if you're getting an echo on your end. Hopefully it's not going to be that way through the entire show, but let's give it a try. Let's bring Rory onto the show. Rory, welcome to join us on Dave Cooper Live. How are you today?
Hi, Dave. Great to be here.
Did you hear that wonderful echo in our
echo, but it actually made it more powerful sounding, so it's kind of cool.
Well, I don't know where it was coming from. I'm sitting back here panicking, but hey, listen, we can't do any or all of this without all of our supporting members. So we do appreciate them. And I appreciate you joining us today. So Rory, before we get into this, my question. We want to know everything about you from the moment you were born to this very moment in time. Do not leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital, or we're going to have a family member on. But you only have a minute and a half to do it. We want to know where you're from and how you got to where you are today. Go for it.
Okay. So my background's a little weird and unique. I consider myself a mutt. I lived in like 11 different states before I was married, and then we lived in a couple of different countries. So I never really felt like I had a hometown, although I do kind of feel the Midwest is my home, even though I left it for a while and started my journey in that way. But I was a clinical social worker by background, and I specialized in Alzheimer's disease. And I did that in this country and then overseas at their sister organization, where I did some grassroots efforts at the Alzheimer's Society. And I really kind of took my healthcare and my transformation of social work, and I parlayed that into more of a business setting. I did management consulting for a long time, and my last gig was actually in manufacturing. And I always tell the story of how I woke up at age 48 and I said, I'm having my midlife crisis and I want to start a business. And I told my husband that, and his joke was, do you think maybe you should just get a sports car? And I said, no, I'm starting a business. And really, we were going to be empty nesters soon. And how do I transform what my history was to where I am now? And I started to poke around. My dad was an architect. I loved the construction area. I wanted to live more sustainably. I started to look at other countries, and they've been repurposing the shipping container for decades. And here I am. Like, I started a business. I mean, go figure, a social worker turned construction person turned modular factory owner. It's a little bizarre, but it works.
So what was the aha moment? Like, to me, it's always like I'm either sleeping and I wake up in the middle of the night, or I'm sitting in a bar and I had a couple bourbons. I'm like, that's a great idea. I'm going to go rip shipping containers off ships, and we're going to build housing and power stations and everything else out of them. Where'd the idea come from?
Well, all you have to do is really kind of Google search what containers can be repurposed in, and you see what other countries for decades, architects have been doing this really cool design. And I'm like, I want to live in that one, and I want to live in there. Oh, and by the way, there's 26 million plus containers just sitting around because we don't ship them back. So it's an environmental crisis. So why are we not thinking about how to repurpose this for all kinds of different ways? And it was inspiring. And I'm like, I want that. I want to do that myself. I want to be in this container myself. So that's how it all came about.
When was SI Containers formed?
So we just celebrated our 7-year anniversary.
Wow, congratulations.
Literally.
I bet I have an applause button here somewhere if I can find it. So really that is amazing. And where did you guys start? What part of Illinois are you from?
So we're outside the Chicagoland area. We consider ourselves a suburb of Chicago.
Yeah.
It's basically just northwest of the city. And that's where my husband and I have been we've lived in this area for about 25 years, raised our kids where, our kids are now gone. And Chicago really needed something like this. We, at the time, were the only modular steel factory in the Chicagoland area. And this was just perfect timing in the Midwest. So that's how it all kind of came about.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward. We got several videos to share while we talk. So we'll be sharing those with everybody out there as well. So what was the moment in the gap you were trying to fill in the market? When did you actually see this? Containers really could be repurposed. And where did you start? And then we'll get into where you're headed right now.
You start to do all the research. You look at what other places in the world have been doing with their containers, and you look at the mistakes that they've made, because there have been mistakes through time. And then you realize that in this country, since the late 2016s, the containers have been legally allowed to be repurposed for residential and commercial use. And then you start to realize, well, wow, if they're legally allowed in the ICC codes, why are more people not doing this, since it's already an environmental problem, bringing them over on the ships, dropping off our goods, and understanding how to repurpose them. So it was all timing. Timing was everything. It's legal. It's something that's really cool. It's steel. So we know, we have data points now that our structures are going to outlive our wood frame homes that we all live in. I live in an 100-year-old home right now. And I know that what I'm building is going to outlive that because of the way we're building and how we're building. And we're building to code, all of those things.
So walk me through the difference between a container home or a container power station and a typical residential home, right? Because there's a certification to be certified container repurposer, I think is the term that you used, not just a fabricator. Is it different? Like, what do you have to go through for this?
Yeah, it's different in some ways. It's different by a skill level. So we're not just fabricators. We want to build a turnkey. So we want to be able to produce something in the market space that when people come to us, we're a design, build, vertically integrated company, and they can do everything all at once with us. And we're building to building code. And NTA, which is owned by the ICC, supervises us in whatever state we're building in. So right now we're in 12 states. We're able to build in all 50 states. And all of those things make us just a higher level of builder. And we take that very seriously. We want to make sure that what we're building is going to last you, is going to be structurally sound and supportive like any other build out there.
Walk me through who the client is. Is it the consumer? Is it the developer? Is it the investor? Who's the client?
Yeah, we started off in a B2C mode and then quickly realized one of the advantages that we have is that we're building in a factory, right? We're building all year round and we can build to scale. So our clients really are in the B2B world. So they're developers, they're nonprofits, they're commercial entities where we can build multiple things and we can scale that so we can actually drive the business and have the customer have the savings at the end. So that's really where our market space is.
And so what are the projects? Are they single family homes, ADUs, multifamily?
So we have a few different lanes. We will build ADUs in our market space in the Chicagoland area, and that would be more of a B2C type of environment. But primarily what we're looking at doing, we're doing multifamily builds. We have a large one that we are doing right over the border in Wisconsin. We have worked with people like Taraji Henson's foundation to do wellness pods on HBCU campuses. We have a wonderful group home that is almost done for girls who are survivors of human trafficking, and that's in the Chicagoland area. That's funded by DCFS. And then we have the very first Marina build down at Navy Pier Marina, which is a legacy project for the new transient marina that was built this past summer. So all over the place.
And I think we have a video on that Navy build, do we not, somewhere in here?
You might. There's a couple of really cool things. We built it completely in our factory. And just like Legos, just what modular is all about, we decommissioned it, took it all apart, sent it down on flatbed trucks, which is why containers are so easy to work with, and then put it back together down at Navy Pier.
Well, why don't we walk through some of these different videos that we have, and you can kind of tell us a little bit about each build, and then we'll get into some more details.
Happy to. Yeah, so this is one of our first wellness pods. They're called the She Care Wellness Pods. Taraji Henson, the Boris Henson Foundation, and Kate Spade, New York, was the funder. And this is a wellness 2 pods that were on, this is Alabama State University. It's to support young Black women's mental health. And so it's really a tremendous way to be able to say, I'm tying my social work back into my building now.
When you say Kate Spade, we're talking like the purse?
Oh yeah, Kate Spade, New York. They were the funders. You know, Kate Spade as a company supports mental health all over. That's one of their biggest, rightfully so. And so they were the funders of the wellness pods.
Yeah, it's funny you say Kate Spade. I think it was either Jeannie or Jen. It was either Jennifer, my wife and partner, or her sister worked for Kate Spade. So
I think I remember actually having this conversation.
Yeah.
When she was doing that. Yeah. And so you can see, this is amazing. You can see the design work on one of the containers that was done by a student. And then we did a wrap for it. And so that's the thing about containers, right? You can really make it look and blend into anything you want. And I would say that is something that I spend a lot of time of education on, is I can make it look like any other home in your community, any other building and support that you want.
Love it.
Yeah.
There's another one.
So that's an infill house. So that's a single family house that's being built. And that one is actually, they remained completely uncladded. So some of our homes, like the girls' trafficked home, is completely cladded to blend
Right.
in. This one, the owner really liked the integrity of the steel on the outside. So we just painted it the way they wanted it painted.
So that's the thing about containers, right? Because you don't have to clad them if you don't want to. They're already, for the most part, watertight, unless you cut a hole somewhere in the ceiling or the roof, right?
Exactly it. And we actually know, we have data we took to our neighbors who had a weather simulator. We took a piece of container, we painted it with our marine grade paint, and without any maintenance, and this was like hurricane winds and salt water, it lasted 26 years without any maintenance, the way we do what we do. So that was pretty cool to be able to say.
I love it. Here's another one for you.
Well, that's the Navy Pier. I mean, anyone who's ever traveled to Chicago knows Navy Pier. It is one of the most prominent areas of our city. And in a few minutes, you're going to see the very first ever amenities building for the new transient marina. So now boaters can come, they can come and they can do their laundry, and they can have a shower, and they can have there's an area for them to sit and relax and eat food. And this was built right on the water. So the engineering involved in this was really crazy. But why not have a container build? This is what it looked like in our factory. But why not have a container build on Lake Michigan? They're meant to be on the water. So it was perfect.
How many stories can you build with these?
So they come over 9 high on the ships.
Mm-hmm.
So without a lot of engineering, 9 high is sort of our benchmark point. But we have seen in other countries that they've done it higher than that. And it's just having really good structural engineers involved in your build.
So I'm going to pause the video here just because I'm curious on some things. When you're building these out, the interiors, sorry, let me go forward a little bit here. What are you using, right? Because you got the steel exterior, thermal bridging is obviously going to be a concern. How do you get the thermal bridging, and how do you get insulation and sheetrock? And do you lose space, or do you just use more containers to get it as wide as you want? How does it work?
So there's a couple of questions within that. One is, we don't do anything really that different than what you would do in your traditional builds. So we're using closed cell spray foam. We're using, the drywall. We're using the barriers when we're doing our framing and all of that. And so we have good architects and engineers on our team that design this so that we're not going to have the issues that you could have. But when you walk inside the container, you actually don't know you're in a container. You think you're in a beautiful home or a beautiful room of an office or a beautiful yoga studio. You wouldn't know any different. It's the outside. It's the Corten steel that you're getting from the structural standpoint.
Absolutely. And what kind of maintenance do you have? Do you have to paint the exterior every once in a while? Is it going to rust on me? How does that work?
So that kind of gets back to, we know that the way we paint it is going to last 26 years without maintenance. You're going to maintain, if it's a home, you're going to maintain it like your home. If you have a roof on it, you're going to maintain your home roof just the same. But it should be lower maintenance because it is steel, and the way we treat the steel and the integrity of it, it should last a whole heck of a lot. It will save you money. We know that we are going to build it faster, cheaper, and save you money long term.
Those are big words. Faster, less expensive, cheaper, and save money all at the same time.
I can even go one step: 50% faster, 15% cheaper, and 70% better for the environment from a carbon emission standpoint. So I can put numbers behind it now.
Well, so that's interesting, right? With the carbon emissions and the sustainability side of this, right? Because I've always said it, and it wasn't me that came up with this. I was in where was I? Switzerland. And I remember at Bauma Fritz Builds or something on that lines. He always said, he goes, the most sustainable home is the one you don't have to build again. We're building, right? So now you already have these shipping containers that have already been built, and they can be rebuilt. But then you could also, I'm imagining, when you take them apart, melt them down and reuse them if you wanted to.
I mean, truly, you can. I mean, what we're doing is we're taking something that is not going to be used again, and it's going to be stacked in a container graveyard. And so we are repurposing something that is very meaningful, built to code, and being able to be used for a long-term purpose.
Yeah, for sure. Here's another video we have.
This is so nice for me to be able to see these again and again. And we have professionals doing these these things like the crane and all of these pieces are
Right.
very important to us to do them correctly. This is another wellness pod that's going on.
It's another one of the wellness pods.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the power pods, right? This is something, and I'm going to go to your website while you're telling us about it. See if I can pull it up, because I am interested to understand what is a power pod, and what are you using it for?
So there are P3s. It's portable power pods. That's what it stands for. And we all know that we are building data centers, we are building gigafactories, we are doing all of this across the country. But the one thing that people are missing is the ability to have really good workforce housing and even terms of disaster relief housing. And so these are something that we can build very quickly that's going to sustain, and it's going to be a whole heck of a lot nicer than a trailer that's, been used over and over again. And for disaster relief, this is fantastic because you have a secondary storm coming in.
Right.
We know that our containers are going to be able to survive that secondary storm, unlike a regular trailer. So these are easy, portable, great fit on a flatbed truck or can be towed by a truck, and it makes it easy to live in.
And I can put these on a slab or a regular foundation?
You can. So there's 3 typical foundations, a regular slab. We do footers, or we'll use like a helical pile, depending. And sometimes we do crawls, and we'll do full basements as well.
So you do crawls and full basements as well. And I was looking in the other video that we had up there. You also are doing all the MEPs, all the finish work inside. So when this comes in and is delivered, if it was a single unit, it would be fully completed inside, right?
It would be, and that's the beauty of modular, right? Like we know, we're both in this field, is that we want to be able to do something as turnkey as possible, because I can build all year round. I don't have to worry about the weather. This is saving you cost and money with my labor and my materials to be able to do that. So when we're saying we're building a girls' trafficked home for survivors, it's just under 7,000 square feet. It will have been completed in 5 months to get girls off the street. Like, that's a powerful message.
It is. And I'm sure they feel super safe because they're built out of steel, right? Especially in that environment. Yeah. So let me hear the elevator pitch, right? And I say, all right, Rory, why would I do this versus, any other type of building or home? Like, who is the person that wants to use containers, and what is the value proposition this offers me?
So cheaper, faster. I mean, I can't say that a million times over. And the thing that I have to fight is we're not a rusty old box. I'm using one-trip containers that came right off the sea. I'm repurposing it to blend into your community. So now you have a Corten steel structure that is going to last, and that is not, you're not even know you're in a container. You're just going to know that it's going to last longer, and it was cheaper and faster. So it's easy. Yeah.
So, it's funny, like when you say the word cheaper, I always say, oh, well, I don't know. It's less expensive, but the quality of the materials and the quality of the build are much better than what you can get on site on any regular site build, right?
Yeah. I think the misconception that cheaper means that we're using materials that are not, but we're building for a high end as well. And so it's a choice of the developer, what kind of finishing that they want in there. And it's no different than if you're doing any other type of home.
Sure. All right. So you're in Illinois. If I want to work with you, I'm a developer. I have a project going, and from looking at your website, I mean, I could be just doing a coffee shop in my community out of one of these if I wanted to, right? Or I need multifamily housing, or affordable, solutions for people that have gone through some hard times. How do we work together?
So it's really easy, ultimately knowing that we take away the stress and the management of the project because we're your builders, but we work collaboratively with the builder, with the developer, and with the architects and the engineers and the people that will be on site. So I shout out to Fresh Greens down in Alabama. We did their little grocery store that went down there, and we worked with their team, and with somebody bigger like Taraji Henson's foundation, which is great, or right over the border in Wisconsin, working with developers to do the multifamily. We take sort of the guesswork out of things when we work collaboratively with people. There's fresh greens. I love
Yeah,
it.
you said it. I remember seeing it, so I
Yeah.
pulled it back up. Yeah,
And like the one that you're going to see down in the corner, we work with ELS, Equity Lifestyle Properties. We did their first modular building build out in Wisconsin on one of their campgrounds. So you can see that.
Well,
And
yeah.
and then
Hey, I should recommend. I was just talking to a guy last night that has a whole hunting, land where they do guided hunts and fishing and all that. And they're getting
wonderful.
ready to. They're going to build out all the cabins and all that stuff for it. They're doing a whole resort.
So that would be wonderful for us. We have something really big cooking in terms of hunting cabins. I can't talk a little bit about the client itself, but it's a big deal. And that's something that is right up our alley.
Yeah, no, for sure. Walk me through local building inspectors in this, right? I would imagine there is some education that has to happen.
I say to everybody, I spend 85% of my job around education. I have to. So it's really pre-education, during education, and post-education. The pre-education means sitting down and meeting with the municipality and walking them through who we are, what we do, and how we do it, and that we're not so different. And then giving that municipality the rights to either do the inspection in our factory or have us have NTA step in and do the inspection as a step in for whatever state we're building in. And listen, we told the city of Chicago for Navy Pier, we can have NTA come in, or you can have the city of Chicago building department come up. Well, we thought they would never do that, and they did. All of their inspectors from downtown Chicago came up to our factory. It was phenomenal to have them there. And the cool thing is to have the electricians and the plumber and the HVAC people say, this is no different. You're building to code exactly like everybody else. So it's nice for us to see this. It's not confusing.
Well, I mean, that's it. I think in seeing is believing. We hear that all the time. People visiting manufacturing facilities, right? ... From the end user perspective, is very, very powerful and very positive for them. So with that said, so we have the education side of this, of building officials and building inspectors. What is your radius and how far you work from your location? You said how many miles out?
So we're actually licensed in 50 states. So we can build in 50 states. And we are building, we have 12 states done and have builds in 12 states right now. We're going to be adding probably 3 to 4 more in the next 6 months. So from that standpoint, we've had offers, people talking to us about going overseas. And it's great because the container that came from overseas now fits right back on the ship. And so I think from that standpoint, it's really easy. We are in the Midwest, so there's so much need in the Midwest. We love to work with Midwest developers. Illinois, obviously, being number one, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, in that radius is always great. The need is enough here locally.
I will be in Michigan, Ann Arbor by tomorrow night. You got anything there I can go take a look at?
Not too far by Detroit, we do. So we can talk about that. But I want you to come visit our factory at some point because you're not so far away either in Pittsburgh.
No, it's definitely not. About 6 hours I can probably make it to you, which is great.
Next time I'll have to get on your travels.
Well, here's the fun part of the conversation for me is you guys have made it past that 5-year mark of all startups and what they're doing, right? And not only have you surpassed it, you're growing to the point where now you guys are in a capital raise.
We are.
Why don't, if you can, I'd love for you to talk to us about that. Talk about the capital raise, talk about the funding, because that's always a big conversation when it comes to industrialized offsite construction.
It is, and I appreciate the time to have that conversation. Dan and I bootstrapped the company going in the very beginning. We have some wonderful angels that have come in and will be a part of this capital raise as well. But the idea of our growth and knowing that the only way for us to really grow successfully is to raise some more money. And that is I'm the salesperson for the organization, to hire a salesperson, to have some CapEx, to do some stuff in the factory that we need to build out, to do some of these multifamilies that we have in our pipeline. We have about $230 million pipeline right now. About 50 million of that is weighted. And so we know we're growing strong, and this is a great opportunity for people to have an investment that is really pretty stable, that we have these things that we're doing, and it's a great opportunity to become a part and be a part of our journey. It's been a great journey.
Yeah, I'm sure it has been. And so when you get that capital, what's the biggest part of your business right now? Is it multifamily? Is it a mix of everything? Where do you see the most growth?
So we have a couple of different lanes that are scalable lanes that we're working towards, multifamily being one of them, because our design is such that we can reproduce a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and a 3-bedroom. I know that you understand this more than anybody. And then being able to take that on a flatbed truck and get it onto site and be able to stack that, which containers are meant to stack, is something that we know we can do cheaper and faster. I'm back to my cheaper and faster mode, but it's something that we can really do in an easy way. So multifamily is something we are tackling now.
And talk to me a little about the investors or the developers. How are they responding to the sustainability side of this, the innovation side of this? Not only people that you're talking to that haven't done it yet, but what are you hearing from the people that have used your product and your process?
I love to be able to pitch sustainability. I actually just won the Chicago Cranes Sustainability Leadership Award for the 2nd year in a row, which I'm very proud of. And that's great. But at the end of the day, that's sort of like the icing on the cake, right? The cherry on the top, where people are more apt to want a structure that they know can be built in a way that's going to be long-term, and that I can build it faster for them, and that it's less expensive to build. So that's what the developers are starting to really pique their interest is, oh, here's a steel frame modular factory in Chicago. That's great. You're here, you're local, let's work together.
For anybody interested in being part of the investment or the capital raise, are they currently able to reach out to you and share in that, or at least talk to you about it?
Absolutely. Please reach out to me. It's active. It's probably going to be closed at the end of this year, but Rory at sicbs.com. Just for everybody to know that SI from the SI Container Build stands for Sustainable Imprints, actually. So
Sustainable imprints.
Yeah. The sustainability piece was always very important to us.
Well, perfect. And I put the ticker in the bottom, sicontainerbuilds.com. So that's down there for anybody that needs that right away. And I'll leave it there while I go through these next questions and comments from you. So one of the things that I see is the most important thing in any successful company is culture. Tell us a little bit about the size of your team and the company culture, and how are you getting your team to buy into the vision and mission of what SI Container Builds is doing?
Yeah, culture is extremely important to both me and to Dan. Coming from a social work background and parlaying that into organizational development consulting, which is really where our focus is, and Dan has an HR component to that as well in his background, that I want people to come to work and enjoy being here. And that's the number one thing for me, is that you spend a lot of time at work. If you don't like where you're working, that's a big problem. So culture is always something on our mind and how we do. We're small and mighty. That's why we're growing. We have about 11 people right now. And then we have a bunch of subs that we work with on a regular basis, and then people that we work with on site. So from that standpoint, we know that the culture needs to grow with that, and adding in the elements that we want to be a part of when we come to work, and what we've seen is something that's always on our mind.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you bring that up. Like that's an important thing for people. Companies can't succeed without their people.
They cannot. You can't grow. I mean, you're just going to get, I hate to say it, half-ass, work out of them if they don't believe in what they're doing. And it seems like, from the sounds of what I'm hearing and knowing you, and we were having some good laughs prior to this going live because it all went haywire on me, but that just shows the fun of you as a leader and a person, and, things happen and we adapt. But on the other side of it, you're not just doing that. You're actually providing housing and solutions for 15% less, 50% quicker. And it's definitely, it's a better product on top of it all. And it provides a secure product.
It really is.
Yeah, for sure. Any new partnerships on the horizon for you? You
So
partnering up with anybody to go somewhere
we
different?
Well, I'll kudos to Audrey Grubesic and her Offsite Dirt Network, because you know a lot of the folks that are involved in that.
Yeah.
What a great group of people. They all came out to the factory. We had a Halloween party a couple of weeks ago, and I know some of them are even on your sponsor list. We have to work together. We have to collab. We talked about that earlier. We are not about who's doing what and let's compete. We're about who's doing what and let's collaborate. Let's learn from each other and figure it out. It's a massive problem in the US.
Yeah, well, it is. And, the problem, we're so good at talking to each other. That's the problem. We need to go outside of our four walls, our cubes, our modules.
Yes.
And we need the consumer to start asking for a better product, or the developer, or, anybody that doesn't understand what we do and how we do it. And I think that's really going to be part of the growth that we need to look at. All right. So final thing here, Rory. One, is there anything that we missed that you feel is super important for us to share with the audience? And, what is your one thing?
Well, I think the obvious is I am a woman entrepreneur in a male dominant industry. I have to be able to say that for young women that are thinking about the trades or construction or architecture, engineering, I am always open to having those kinds of conversations, because we do need more women out there. There are a few of us trying to do that. So that's a big thing. But working in the modular field, I think, is the way of the future. I know that we're growing at only 8%. We grew, but that is significant when you talk about a whole building community. And working in a factory environment is pretty special. It really is very cool.
Yeah. It is. And you know what the greatest part about offsite is? It requires everybody and anybody, and anybody and everybody can do the job now, because there are tools and resources, even in a labor intensive, factory, that anybody can do the work for the most part. And then again, like anything else, our industry is huge and it's growing, and there's such demand. We need marketing people. We need salespeople. We need engineers. We need architects. We need everybody. And I will tell you, from a woman's, from my point of view of seeing women and working with my wife, you are so much more detailed than us blokes are. So much more. And guess what? When it comes to offsite manufacturing, it's about precision and it's about detail.
There you go.
That matters.
I like that.
So there you go. That's what I'm putting out there anyhow.
Awesome.
Why don't we go? Let's take a look at a couple comments here. We're on Instagram, but I don't see it showing up my comments, but I do see, I'm going to read this to you. Peter D. Maria made a comment. He said, great to see the evolution of the container as building blocks. Great presentation. I'll stay tuned and may send, and I can't read the rest of it. It's got cut off somewhere.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, Peter D. Maria, huge architect out in Los Angeles, and he is the one that got all the container code approvals. If I said it right, if I said it wrong, tell me.
Wonderful. Yep. I do not know him, but we are going to be linking up after this.
You definitely want to know Peter D. Maria. And we only have time here for another one or two here. There you go. Greg Ugaldi says that's the past chair of the National Association of Home Builders. Top dog updates the president even on housing. Very informative, DC Live and Rory. Well, thank you, Greg. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. All right, Brian Lamana. Hey, Brian, how are you? I think you say Lignema. I can't say, but he says, congrats on your success. Sorry, just logging in. So many apologies for asking a question that may have already been answered. More are coming in. My screen moved on me. My question is, what specific certifications have you received thus far? In other words, what code are you running under? IRC, HUD, ANSI, or Revia, etc.?
It's the IRC and ICC. Yeah. And everybody that we work with is licensed in their trade.
Got it. And you have all the certifications to build under those codes is the way I'm going to understand it, right?
Yes. And as a modular builder in those particular states. Yes.
Love it. I don't know who this person is. I don't want to assume, but they said, I'm always concerned about the dew point when it comes to insulating containers. Can I see some deets explaining how the inevitable moisture is managed rather than clever architects?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's the question that everyone has on their mind, because historically containers have been thought to have mold and moisture. And we have really learned how to manage for that. I mean, we use closed cell spray foam for that. We have the vapor barrier. We use ERV systems. We make sure that all of those, because we build from Alabama all the way up to northern Wisconsin. So we have the very hot and the very cold. And so these are things that we've had to learn how to do correctly, because you can make mistakes. And people on the internet, unfortunately, are making a lot of mistakes out there when they're not built correctly.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'm going to put one more in just because it's Jennifer. So I'm going to put it up there as well before we wrap up. And I'll put it full screen because I see I'm getting my head cut off over there. Rory Rubin, Modular Building Solutions. In your free time, you need to start a mentorship program, or maybe you already have, question mark. You are a pioneer, so many can learn from you.
Well, I will do it if Jennifer works with me on it, because I do believe that she's a force to be reckoned with as well. So I think there should be a mentorship program in the modular industry for women, especially. And I am all in to help.
Yeah, you know what? I do not disagree with that in the least bit, and believe it or not, for those of you that don't know, we have a lot of amazing, women working in this industry, leading this industry, such as yourself, Helena Lidlow, you got Sarah and Logan, VBC. I mean, there are so many people at a whole nother level. So yeah, and that's just a handful. I can keep going on that. Amy Marks from, the Queen of Prefab. Let's just keep going.
Yes.
All right. Final words, Rory. Anything you want to share before we wrap this up?
Come find me at rory@sicbs.com. I am willing to help you build cheaper and faster. Couldn't resist, sorry, Dave.
No, hey, just keep doing it. Cheaper and faster, more affordable, less expensive, but better quality.
Better quality.
That's right. All right, Rory, don't go anywhere. I'll come back to you after the outro of the show. But for the rest of you out there, guess what? It is Wednesday. We got 2.5 days to keep building it better. And once again, we can't do any or all this without all of our supporting members. And man, did you miss a good time at Greenbuild this year? We had a stage full of people. I mean, an entire stage. I don't know why it's cut me off on Instagram. I got to duck down. I'm trying to watch and manage all this at the same time. But with that said, everybody, listen, Rory, we want to thank you for being on the show with us as well. So thank you for joining us today. And for the rest of you out there, sicontainerbuilds.com. It's in the ticker below. Did I get that right? SI Container Builds.
Thank you so
much.
It is.
Let's get that right and reach out and see how you can partner or invest in what Rory and their team is doing. I'm Dave Cooper. Rory Rubin, thank you so much. We'll see you Monday. Have a good one. Bye now. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.